Imagine stepping onto an island where time moves at its own pace, far removed from the noise of modern life. Picture communities where tradition is still deeply woven into the fabric of daily life, and the outside world feels like a distant memory. Today, we're taking you on a journey to the most remote islands where the local populations remain largely cut off from the outside world. 10th Great Nicobar Island, India. First up, we head to Great Nicobar Island, part of the Nicobar Islands archipelago in the Bay of Bengal, India. With a population of only about 8,000 people, this island remains one of the most isolated places in the world. The indigenous Nicobarese people live on the island, following traditions that have been passed down through generations. Great Nicobar is famous for its untouched landscapes, dense rainforests, and the presence of the endangered Nicobar pigeon. The island has minimal infrastructure and very limited access to healthcare and basic services, with a small hospital serving the population. If you need to get there, your best bet is to take a long, rough boat ride from Port Blair, which can take several hours. 9. Sentinel Islands, India. Next, we journey to the Sentinel Islands in the Andaman Sea, home to the infamous Sentinelese tribe. The Sentinelese are one of the last uncontacted tribes in the world, and they remain completely isolated from the outside world. With a population of around 300 to 400, the Sentinelese are fiercely protective of their land and way of life. 8. Marquesas Islands, French Polynesia. Located in the South Pacific, the Marquesas Islands are one of the most remote archipelagos in the world. With a population of only about 9,000 people scattered across the islands, the locals here still live in a way that is largely disconnected from modern life. The Marquesans, known for their tattoos and vibrant arts, have preserved their Polynesian heritage despite external influences. Getting to the Marquesas requires a long flight from Tahiti or a boat journey, but once you're there, the islands are largely free of tourists and modern conveniences. Many villages are only accessible by boat, and healthcare services are limited to a few local clinics. 7. Pitcairn Islands, British Overseas Territory. The Pitcairn Islands are perhaps best known as the home of the descendants of the HMS Bounty mutineers. Located in the South Pacific, these islands are so isolated that they are often described as one of the most remote inhabited places on Earth. With only around 50 residents, Pitcairn is a unique and tight-knit community that lives on an island barely larger than a small village. The islands can only be reached by boat, and visiting requires careful planning. There's no regular air service, and supplies are brought in once a month by cargo ship. Health services are limited, and the local clinic is small, meaning residents often rely on traditional medicine and remedies. 6. North Andaman Island, India. The Andaman Islands are home to a variety of indigenous tribes, and North Andaman is one of the most secluded and isolated regions. The Great Andamanese people, though no longer completely isolated, still live in remote parts of the island, far from the hustle and bustle of the mainland. The population of North Andaman is small, and many communities are scattered across the island. Access to the island is limited, with the only way to get there being by boat from Port Blair. While the island has seen some development in recent years, the remote areas still lack proper healthcare, electricity, and infrastructure. The Great Andamanese have a rich cultural history, with unique customs, languages, and rituals. 5. Tanna Island, Vanuatu. Vanuatu's Tanna Island is home to the fascinating and somewhat mystical John Frum cargo cult, which believes that a man named John Frum will one day return to bring material wealth to the island. Located in the South Pacific, Tanna is isolated with a population of about 30,000 people, and its residents live a traditional lifestyle. While Tanna has become somewhat more accessible to travelers, much of the island remains cut off from the modern world. There are no major hotels or resorts, and getting there requires a combination of small plane flights and boat rides. The island's infrastructure is basic, with limited healthcare facilities. The island's culture is steeped in ritual and custom, and the John Frum cult, which is one of the island's unique religious practices, still thrives. The people of Tanna rely on farming, fishing, and raising livestock for their livelihoods, and many still follow ancient customs that date back hundreds of years. 4. Chiloé Island, Chile. In the southern part of Chile, Chiloé Island is known for its isolation, as well as its rich mythology, including tales of witches and shape-shifting creatures. The island is home to a population of around 150,000, but its remote villages remain largely untouched by modernity. Chiloé is separated from the mainland by a narrow stretch of water, and transportation is either by ferry or a long drive. Many communities on the island do not have regular access to healthcare, and rural residents rely on small health centers or traditional remedies. 3. Socotra Island, Yemen. Socotra Island, part of Yemen, is often referred to as one of the most alien-looking places on Earth. With its unique biodiversity and dramatic landscapes, it's a place where isolation has created an environment unlike any other. The people of Socotra have lived on the island for centuries, with a population of about 60,000, and they are still cut off from the rest of Yemen and the world. The island is accessible by boat or a limited number of flights, but transportation remains a challenge. There is little infrastructure, and healthcare facilities are extremely basic, making the island's residents highly reliant on traditional medicine. Socotra's culture is a fascinating mix of Arab, African, and Indian influences. The island is also home to rare species of plants and animals, such as the dragon's blood tree, and is sometimes described as an Eden due to its biodiversity. Second, Flores Island, Indonesia. Flores Island in Indonesia is a remote paradise that has retained much of its traditional way of life. With a population of around 1.8 million, the island's residents live in small villages where cultural customs and traditions have been maintained for centuries. Flores is accessible by boat or plane, but many of its villages remain far from modern conveniences. Many areas do not have hospitals, and locals often rely on herbal medicine or seek treatment in more developed towns. The island's cultural heritage is rich with unique languages, dances, and crafts. The famous Komodo dragons also roam the island, making it an alluring destination for those looking to explore both its natural and cultural wonders. 1. Easter Island, Chile. And finally, we arrive at one of the most famous yet isolated places on Earth, Easter Island, also known as Rapa Nui. Located in the Pacific Ocean, it's more than 2,000 miles from the nearest inhabited landmass. With a population of around 7,000, Easter Island remains a unique place where ancient Polynesian culture is preserved. Despite its fame, Easter Island is isolated and accessible only by plane, with limited flights available. There's a small hospital, but for serious medical conditions, residents must be flown to mainland Chile. Easter Island's fascinating history includes the iconic Moai statues, which were carved by the island's ancestors. These statues, along with the island's rich traditions, make it a must-see for travelers interested in history, culture, and isolation. Which of these remote islands would you want to visit? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating stories. Until next time, keep exploring the world's hidden wonders.